This is why the Indiana Hoosiers can become Big Ten tournament champions this week.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this, the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. If you're new here, or if you're returning and you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, what are you waiting on? Come and be a part of this wonderful family. We continue to grow. We are pushing towards 1,900 subscribers and then 2,000 subscribers. It's free. It's easy. It takes just one tap and you'll become a part of the community. You'll know every time we post a new episode. If you're on audio, you can subscribe there. Turn on notifications wherever you get your podcast. The Big Ten tournament starts today, and I'm going to tell you why the Indiana Hoosiers can make a run, win the Big Ten tournament, and make it to the NCAA tournament. Yes, I said it. It sounds crazy, but we're going to talk about it today anyway. We're going to do that. We'll break down the Big Ten tournament, plus a couple of guys on this Indiana team got honored by the Big Ten. That is what's coming up on today's show. The Big Ten tournament begins today on Wednesday. Rutgers and Maryland play, and then Michigan and Penn State also play. The Hoosiers, after what maybe wasn't the best year, the one that we were expecting, finished in the 6th seed at 10-10 overall in the conference. Preseason, yeah, I think we were hoping for a little bit better, especially top 4, maybe even to compete for the regular season Big Ten title. But, man, I'll be honest, through the middle of the year, I didn't know a 6 seed was possible. I didn't know 10-10 was possible. Getting 500 was going to be doable in this conference just because of how rough it was and how very up and down that this Big Ten conference schedule was. Very streaky for us as an Indiana team. But then we pulled it together. We've won 4 games in a row. We're coming in hot into Minneapolis. And my biggest reason on why I think we can make a run, why not us? Why not? Indiana, I'm not going to say we have nothing to lose because that's not true. That's not true. Rutgers, Michigan, those teams have nothing to lose. They also have nothing to gain. That's the big difference here. Michigan, even if they make a run, they're not going to make the NCAA tournament. But you could also say Indiana's in that spot too, so maybe they are the same. Maybe they are. Kind of goes against what I was going to say, but I think I'm kind of changing it up here on the fly. Indiana has nothing to lose. Nothing. Because guess what? If you don't win this tournament, you're not making the NCAA tournament. You were never going to make the NCAA tournament coming into this week because you're so far out of it. You're still hovering way out of the net rankings where you need to be. So, yeah, why not us? The only way we get in to the NCAA tournament is by winning this one this week. If you lose, your season's done. Sure, you'll have a NIT opportunity, but I don't think that's something that we would really go for, but maybe we do, maybe we don't. That's a conversation for a different time. So you've got guys on this team that have been here before. You've got some really good senior leadership in Xavier Johnson, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal. Those two back-end guys, Anthony Leal, Trey Galloway, of course, announcing they're coming back to this team for another season. So that's exciting. That's something to play for this week, right? Even if you don't win, you're playing for next season. We talked yesterday about how Mike Woodson can sell this team, sell this program. Isn't this a way to do that? Isn't this a way to sell your team? Like, look, I know last year didn't go well, but look how we ended the season. 4-game win streak in the regular season, went on a run and made it to Saturday in the Big Ten tournament, whatever the case may be. Those guys have to buy in and play for each other, play for themselves, play for each other, play for Indiana. And look, we know when this team starts playing well, they're a good team. They're very talented. We are a good basketball team when we want to be. When we're shooting the ball well, when we're turning them over, not turning it over ourselves, and running our offense the way we're supposed to, and playing good defense. That's where it all starts. It all starts on the defensive end for us as the Indiana Hoosiers. When we play good defense and we hold teams in the 60s and low 70s, we win ball games. Look at the last few games for us coming down the stretch. Look at these final few scores, right? In this 4-game winning streak, you did not give up 80 points. Not once. 70 to Wisconsin, 78 to Maryland, 58 to Minnesota, and 64 to Michigan State. Your losses gave up 83, gave up 85, 76, 79, 85, right? 91, 87, 86, right? You can see the trend here. When we play good defense, we win basketball games. And I know you could use that for a lot of teams in the country, but this team lives and dies on the defensive end of the floor because we can't score 90 points night in and night out. It's just not who we are. But we don't have to. We don't have to do that to win games, and especially in this Big Ten tournament where, look, we're going to be playing some teams that just aren't all that great. Our first-round game is against a bad team regardless, either Michigan or Penn State. Those are bad teams. And I know we didn't beat Penn State, but we should. I want them again. I absolutely want Penn State again because we are 15, 20 points better than that team. We just have to prove it, and I want another shot to do that. Then you would go on to play Nebraska, who, look, I think we're better than Nebraska too. I really, really do. Yes, they're good. They're a solid team. I don't care. I don't care. We can beat Nebraska if we play our brand of basketball and slow them down on the offensive side of the floor. You gave up 86 points to them the first time and 85 points to them the second time. If you play strong defense against Nebraska, they can't stop you either. We can win that game 75-70 and move on through the Big Ten tournament. And I'll be honest, I like our draw. I like our draw a lot. We'd have to go through Nebraska, and we'd have to go through probably Illinois. Okay, I'm cool with that. Illinois, we were in that game the entire way on the road in Champaign. We lost it 70-62. We would not have to see Purdue until the championship game, who will probably make the championship game. So I think we got a really good draw. We're playing our best basketball, and we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's a dangerous team in March. That's a really dangerous team in March. Do I think we go on and win it? No, probably not. But I think we can. I absolutely think we can. I believe it. I'm not just blowing smoke. I think we can do it. And now is a better time than ever. It's a better time than ever. Playing our best basketball, got a good draw, and I keep asking, why not us? Coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a look at the full Big Ten bracket. It starts today for the Big Ten tournament on the men's side. We'll break it all down for you, look at the matchups, the potential matchups, and who Indiana could play along the way, plus some maybe upset picks as well. That's coming up on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors, they've got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or they'll give you your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Hoosiers getting going in the Big Ten tournament. Not until tomorrow, but the Big Ten tournament does start today. It's Champ Week across the sport. One of my favorite weeks. Hot take. I think I almost like Champ Week more than I like the first round of the NCAA tournament. I know it's crazy. I know. And that's a weird thing to say. Champ Week's just so much fun. You have teams making it to the NCAA tournament for the first time. You have teams going on runs that shouldn't be going on runs. I mean, you just have so much fun in champ week and you see all the teams start filling in the bracket, right? Everybody's getting their automatic bid. And then you've got Selection Sunday, which is so much fun, coming up in less than a week. It's crazy that we're almost here. But I want to look at this Big Ten bracket. All right, I'm going to read through the seed lines, read through the first few games, possible matchups, maybe give you some upset picks as well. Purdue's the 1 seed, Illinois the 2, Nebraska the 3, Northwestern is the 4, Wisconsin's the 5 seed, your Indiana Hoosiers are the 6 seed, Iowa 7, Michigan State 8, who is still in the NCAA tournament somehow. Don't ask me why that's a thing. Minnesota 9, Ohio State 10. You have Penn State 11. You have Maryland 12, Rutgers at 13, and Michigan rounding out at the 14 seed. Getting going today on this Wednesday, Rutgers will take on Maryland. That'll be at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern on Peacock. And then Michigan and Penn State will take on each other right after that. The winner of Rutgers-Maryland moves on to play that Wisconsin team. Look, I think Maryland could beat that Wisconsin team, especially with how Wisconsin's been playing down the stretch, which, if you haven't noticed, is not all that great. Here's how they ended the season. Man, about halfway through, the wheels fell off. Remember, they beat us, right? They lost that Penn State game. They beat us. They started 4-0 in conference play. They lost on the road at Penn State. Then they went 3 in a row. Then they lost 4 in a row, including a game at Michigan, one of the worst teams in the country. Beat Ohio State, lost to Iowa, beat Maryland, lost 2 in a row, including to us, beat Rutgers, and then lost to Purdue. Wisconsin is reeling right now getting into this Big Ten tournament. Do I think they would win their second round game? Yeah, probably. I would think so, but apologies about that. But look, I think Wisconsin would win their first round game regardless. I really do. But then you start looking at Michigan and Penn State, and we're all going to have our eyes glued to this game because we play the winner of Michigan and Penn State. 9 times out of 10, this should be Penn State. It really should. And whether that's the case or not, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. But Penn State should win that game, man. They really should. They should win that game. They beat Michigan 79-73 early on in the season, and that's the only time they played. So these teams don't know each other all that well, but Michigan's a bad team. They're a bad team. There's no reason they should win. And I think we should prepare to play Penn State one more time. And I told you already, I want them. I want that Penn State team again. So we'll see if we get them. Then you start looking at the second round on Thursday. Minnesota taking on Michigan State. That's an interesting game. It really is. Because I told you Michigan State's still in the NCAA tournament in bracketology somehow. Their resume sucks. They are not a good team. I don't understand why they're in. I have a theory on that. I think it's because it's Michigan State. I think it's because of Tom Izzo. I think it's because of Cha-Ching. Yeah, exactly. I'm just telling you like it is because Michigan State's not an NCAA tournament team. They're just not. But here we are. They're still projected to make the tournament. I think they'll beat Minnesota. They'll go and get smacked by Purdue in the Friday round, in the third round, the quarterfinals on Friday afternoon. Then you'll have Wisconsin, like I mentioned, playing either Rutgers or Maryland. I think Wisconsin would win that. And then they would go on and play Northwestern. That'd be a really, really good game. This is an intriguing one right here. Ohio State is the 10 and Iowa as the 7. Look, that Ohio State team was not good this year. They weren't. They had some talent, but they were not good. They fire their coach, and all of a sudden, they start doing crazy things. They start beating people. They start winning games. They beat the number 2 team in the country, Purdue. And then they lost to Minnesota somehow. And then they go on a 4-game win streak. Michigan State beat that Nebraska team, Michigan, and then Rutgers. And they only lost to Iowa by 2 before they lost to us. I think Ohio State wins that game, man. They're playing good basketball right now. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that we don't have to see them wouldn't be till Saturday in the semifinals if both of us and the Buckeyes make a run. I don't want to mess with Ohio State right now. I'm good. Miss me with that. That's a good team. There's my upset of the tournament. I think Ohio State wins on Thursday night and takes down the Iowa Hawkeyes. We would play either Michigan or Penn State. I have us winning regardless. I think we go in. I think we win that game. I think we beat Penn State in that bracket. in our first game on Thursday. Then you have the teams that got the double bye. Purdue at the top, then Northwestern at 4, Illinois 2, and Nebraska at 3. I'm kind of filling my bracket out with you as we go. I have Purdue beating Michigan State. I have, in a weird way, do I do it? Do I take Wisconsin over Northwestern? Oh, I'm telling you this on the fly. You know what? Sure. I'll take Wisconsin to beat Northwestern in the quarterfinals. I have no reason. I have no reason to do it. I'm just, a gut feeling is what I'm going with on the Badgers. Ohio State and Illinois. Could Ohio State do it again? Could they make a run after an abysmal season? They hung with Illinois their one time they played this year. I'm looking at it right now. It's probably where it comes to an end. I'll take Illinois in that game. Then you have Indiana in Nebraska. This is how I'm filling out my bracket. This is my prediction. All right. Indiana and Nebraska. We win that game. We do. We can beat that Nebraska team. If you slow down Tominaga, don't let him go off for 30. Go to your big guys down low, Kel'el, Ware, Malik, Reneau. Let Mackenzie Mgbako continue to shoot. Senior leadership from Trey Galloway. Get the assist machine going once again. We make it to Saturday. The Hoosiers make it to the weekend. They do. They're going to make it to the weekend in the Big Ten tournament. You can mark my words on that, and I'll eat it if I'm wrong. That would give me Purdue versus Wisconsin in the semis and Illinois and Indiana in the semis as well. That's tough, man. That's really, really tough. If I'm filling it out legitimately, I would take Purdue, of course, and more than likely Illinois. I think we can win. I do. I still think that. I think we can do it. But if you're filling it out for the favorites and to be correct, yeah, Illinois is supposed to win that game. They're going to be the favorite. They beat us this year, right? They're supposed to. But we proved that we can run with them. So, yeah, there's an upset waiting to happen there as well. And look, my pick is Purdue to win it. That's not a hot take by any means. That's the favorite to win it by every account. But if you're looking for two teams to make a run this week, I look for Indiana and I look for Ohio State. I think those two teams are playing the best basketball, playing better than they have all season long, and have some chances to get some upsets. Those are my two picks, Indiana and Ohio State. Watch those two. Unfortunately, if they go on a big run, they're on a crash course in the Big Ten semis, which I think would be a lot of fun. I think that would be a really intriguing game because it's a completely different and new look Ohio State team since they fired their coach and have just been on a roll ever since. So that's my thoughts. That's my predictions on the Big Ten tournament. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the Big Ten tournament. I'm excited for all of the major conference tournaments. We've already got folks going to the big dance, and a lot more are going to punch their ticket in the next 4 to 5 days. And then, hey, Selection Sunday, we'll have bracket reactions, bracket breakdowns, and a whole lot more. And speaking of that, want to make sure you mark your calendar for the Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown Show on Monday, March 18th at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Good friends of the program and experts, Andy Patton and Isaac Shade, will break down their brackets and discuss everything that you need to know to fill out a winning bracket and prepare for this year's NCAA tournament. Find the Locked On Bracket Breakdown on Monday, March 18th on the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. That's the day after Selection Sunday. Both of those guys are awesome dudes, really good at what they do. So go check that out. I'll be tuned in for sure. They'll be breaking down the entire NCAA tournament bracket on their college basketball bracket breakdown show on Monday, March 18th on Locked On College Basketball. Coming up, we'll take a look at some Indiana Hoosiers that got some accolades from the Big Ten, what that means, plus a little bit more on Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal announcing they are coming back for another year in Bloomington. That's all coming up on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Look, if you're going to have games on 4 or 5 TVs, you may as well have a little moolah on there and see if you can make some money while you're at it. I know you're calling off work that day, so may as well make some money while you're sitting on the couch, right? Whether you're betting on big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on a point spread, money line. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON. $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins at FanDuel.com. Final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Reminder, we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And if you're on the YouTube version, like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. All those things help us grow, and you can become a part of this wonderful family here at Locked On. Final segment on the show, and a couple of Indiana Hoosiers get some accolades from the Big Ten. Kel'el Ware, after transferring in from Oregon out of the Pac-12, comes into the Big Ten, and he was named second team All Big Ten and on the All Defensive Team. Both of those are spot on. I think you could make an argument that he was first team, but when you look at the position that he's playing, there's some pretty heavy hitters in that spot. So, look, I'm good with second team. That's a huge honor in this conference. And All Defensive Team, yeah, you better believe it. He's averaging 16 points this season, 9.8 rebounds, so basically averaging a double-double, which is what I said he should do. He is averaging that in Big Ten play. 1.5 assists and 1.9 blocks per game. Shoots 60% from the floor, 44% from three, almost 45%, and 63% at the free throw line. Look, those are good numbers, man. Those are really, really good numbers. That's why he's getting so much love from the NBA scouts and the NBA draft and those mock drafts right now for the draft coming up. He could absolutely go. He could absolutely go and be a really good player. I think they would try to beef him up a hair. And the fact that he has shot some threes this year, I think really benefits him because that's what centers have to do now. If you're going to the NBA, you better be able to step out and shoot. If you're going to set that screen, you better either roll or be able to pick and pop and knock down that shot if they give it to you. That's what every center in the league does. And I think that's why you've seen Kel'el Ware work on that. Not that he's just the biggest threat in the world, but he doesn't take many, but he knocks them down. And you can't not knock him for that. And you can't really complain when he does it. So, look, defensively, down low, yeah, he's a menace. He's over 7 feet tall. He should be a menace down there. And some of his blocks this season are just ferocious. I mean, they are hard-hitting, into the fifth row type of blocks that spike into the floor like he's playing Division I volleyball. Like, it's really kind of crazy, the presence that he has down low, which is why he made All Defensive Team. When people get into the lane, whether he actually blocks the shot or not, his presence and him just scaring the ball handler affects so many players when they get down there. They maybe get by their initial defender on the perimeter, but then they get in there and they have to adjust completely because, oh crap, there's Kel'el Ware. Got to get rid of the basketball. There's no way that I can get this shot off. So that's where he is his most dangerous, is when he's just a presence in there. When he just gets into people's heads that, oh, we can't go in there, there's Kel'el Ware. On the other side, on All Second Team for the Big Ten, I think he could have been All Big Ten first team if we would have used him even more. I know he's got great numbers right now, but there were times this year, not as of late, but there were times this year where we just didn't go to him as much as I thought we should, man. And I know you got to spread the ball around and you can't just go to one guy over and over and over again. But what have I preached a lot of times this year when we're talking about the games coming up that night or the next day? It's do it until they stop it. The pick and roll with Trey Galloway and Kel'el Ware is undefeated. Never lost, right? It's so good. It's a college thing. Can you do that in the NBA night in, night out? No, probably not. But right now, why not? Do that coming up in the Big Ten tournament, especially against a team like Penn State and even Nebraska, who can't hang with that. Nobody can compete with that other than Purdue. And then we've got other big guys too. So Purdue's a long way off, but you see what I'm saying here. So congrats to Kel'el Ware, All Second Team for the Big Ten, and then All Defensive Team as well. The other one I wanted to shout out really quickly is Mackenzie Mgbako, who was named Big Ten Co-Freshman of the year. We talked about this earlier in the season, maybe a couple of weeks ago. We talked about if he could be freshman of the year. He was named Big Ten co-freshman of the year in addition to being selected to the Big Ten all-freshman team. Iowa forward Owen Freeman shared co-freshman of the year honors with Mgbako. Look, I don't like when they give it to two. I think it's ridiculous. Me personally, I hate ties. I think they're dumb. It's like soccer. I'm not a fan of ties. You play this whole 90-minute game and then nobody wins and everybody just goes home. Same thing here. You play all season. You're not necessarily fighting for this award, but you'd love to win it. And then all of a sudden, oh, hey, you both did really good. Instead of us deciding co-freshman, bang, we're done. Next. I don't know. It's an honor, right? It's definitely an honor for Mackenzie Mgbako, and he absolutely deserved it. And he's come a long way, man. He's come a long way this season, averaging 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist per game, shooting 40% from the field, 34% from 3, and 81% from the free throw line. Folks, if you were here back in November, December when I was here, I was calling for Mgbako to not start because he was just not getting it. It was not clicking for the McDonald's All-American freshman. The game was too quick for him even before conference play started. But he was left in there. He finally got his feet underneath him. And it's crazy because it happened in conference play. Mackenzie Mgbako started playing his best basketball in Big Ten play. And man, once he got going, and I knew this was going to be the case, I think Indiana was suffering because of it. He was a non-factor on the floor, turning it over, couldn't make a shot, wasn't a defensive liability for sure. But all of that has changed. He's not the Kel'el Ware defensive presence, but I think he's there and holds his own on that side. But now he's Indiana's best three-point shooter. He's one of our best go-to options on offense. And if you foul him, he's going to make the free throw. Indiana can use that this week in the Big Ten tournament. Shout out to Mackenzie Mgbako. I hope he comes back. I hope that he is a guy that is here for a while because he's a really good player, and I think he's only going to get better, and he makes us better night in and night out. No doubt about it. Mackenzie Mgbako, co-freshman of the year in the Big Ten. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Coming up tomorrow, we'll talk about Indiana, whoever they're playing, their matchup, whether it be Michigan and Penn State. Talk more about this Big Ten tournament. I think we can make a run, folks. I really, really do. I hope it's a long week. I hope it's a long weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun covering this and all the other basketball games right here on Locked On Hoosiers. Have a great Wednesday. Come back tomorrow, won't you? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. And until tomorrow, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.